What is going on, Donut Friend Me Nation? Episode 499. 500 is going to be Friday night. Join us with Still Point Live. It'll be a good time. Joe Biden, Uncle Joe. Do we have Kamala? Where's Kamala? Hold on. I think I have Kamala here. Uncle, we did it, Joe. We did it. Hold on. Where's it at? There it is.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
We did it. Uncle Joe. Grandpa Joe. They've done such a great job having him in the basement, having him eat ice cream, showing videos of him watching Matlock and Murder, She Wrote, putting on an Afghan Shaw when it's just a little chilly outside. Yes, Grandpa Joe. What a fantastic image they've weaved for us. This charismatic, affable-natured human being who plagiarizes in college and lies about his transcripts, doesn't do anything while he's in office for 47 some odd years, doesn't pass any legislation, hung out with KKK members, said more racist stuff than I can even shake a stick at. My gosh, Joe Biden. You all remember this one.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I bet you do, Joe. And who calls black children roaches? Really? And who talks about kids jumping on their lap? I don't know. But he also said that.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Wow. Gets away with just about anything. It's almost like it's Hillary Clinton with hot sauce in her purse. Joe Biden, Grandpa Joe, just that embarrassing grandfather that, and you want to put him over on the table with the other kids just because you know that all the food's going to be all over the table. It's going to be a hot mess. But more importantly, you don't want to smell the Old Spice and the 3 or 4 scotches that they had, but you love Grandma, so you got to bring Grandma over. But unfortunately, Grandpa comes too. Yes, Joe Biden, the American president. Listen, this isn't about ageism. Joe Biden's old. We've had old presidents before. Joe Biden's really old. And yes, Donald Trump's old too, but he's not even close to Joe Biden. Come on, there's 10 times more energy coming out of Trump. We know this because Joe Biden starts his day at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. It's open. And then he has a full lid at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The guy's had 371 vacation days. Now people go, oh, well, Donald Trump played golf. Yeah, on the weekends. So Donald Trump took the weekends off. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's good or bad. As the president of the United States, I think you should be the hardest working person in the world. And was Donald Trump? Well, yeah, he got around, folks. And yeah, he played some golf too. There's no doubt about it. But does that make it okay that Joe Biden does? Absolutely not. But they're rebranding his image. Why? Well, because his numbers are in the toilet. I just went through a little bit of his life history. If I look at his presidency, it's 10 times worse. We can look at inflation. We can look at gas prices. We can look at the state of the world and where we're at. China is sounding off, ready to go into Taiwan. You got North Korea sending up missiles again. You've got Putin who invaded Ukraine. From a world stage, we're not doing too well. We're not talking to Jerusalem. We're not talking to Israel. We're not recognizing. We haven't moved the embassy yet. Borders out of control. Fentanyl. I mean, can we go on and on and on? Look at jobs. Oh, well, we have all these jobs that have come around. Yeah, that's because people are working multiple jobs. A lot of people pretend that that isn't counted, but it is counted. Let's stop pretending that we're in a better place than we were a couple years ago. Now, maybe from a mean tweets perspective, we weren't in a better place. But now, look where we are. Let's be honest. And now they have to go ahead and change his image, which is why we're seeing Bidenomics. Joe Biden, a new man. Very similar to what they did to John McCain. If you remember John McCain, the Maverick. They had to go ahead and make John McCain the Maverick. He rides with Iceman. He's the wingman. Come on. John McCain, hero, not hero, whatever you think he is, I don't really care. I'm not here to trounce on the man's grave. He had his faults, he had his strengths, and I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not going to sit here and bash him. But he was old, and they tried to brandish him as this powerful, energetic young man, and he wasn't. And Joe Biden isn't either. But the interesting thing is Morning Joe is pointing out these things. And Morning Joe is obviously, those two are, who wants to be in between those sheets? I mean, I don't want the pick of the litter. But the point is that they argue constantly, always one thing they agree on is how much they hate Donald Trump, but they seem to be kind of agreeing. And Joe is a little taken aback that his partner in crime here is talking about Joe Biden's age and the image of him constantly tripping over himself. Watch this, and then I will address the rest.
Reagan, they also managed to schedule very carefully.
Yeah, I think his staff needs to own his age. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think they do a good job.
His staff needs to own his age. Wow, they're saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, now it's not even about, listen, he's spry. You know, that's how they define old people, right? They're spry. No one has ever said anyone under 60 is spry. I mean, that would just be an insult. But to an old person, it's like, oh, they're spry? Oh, well, they're fine. They're going to live another at least 2 to 3 years. But here in this situation, he's damn old. Listen to this.
Helping out the president. And I'm not talking about it like, I'm just saying, if you are managing a president's schedule and you are managing a president getting on stage and getting off stage and getting on planes and getting off plane, and yes, he's 80, you need to be there for him and you need to make a pathway.
Like what? Catching him? Like behind him with a pooper scooper? What do you mean? Giving him random injections? Just walk, excuse me, Mr. President. All right, you're good to go, sir. Have a good day. Knock out that press conference. What are we talking about here? What do you have to manage? What are you, a vet? I don't understand. Why does his staff, what are they, orderlies? Is this a nursing home? Well, she's saying it.
And you sure as hell better make sure he doesn't fall on a sandbag. And I blame the staff for that.
In a world where sandbags usually fall on people, you're falling on a sandbag. It's okay. She's doing fine. Keep it up. Euphemisms, but be damned. You're doing just fine.
I mean, these are the things that are going to hurt him. These are things that are going to be played on a loop. Okay? Let him do his job. Let him do his speeches. Let him work on policy. Let him do his connections in Congress.
Let him color his books. Let him do story hour. We can do a little macrame. Some cross stitching at noon. Water aerobics at 5. Come on.
Like any president that we've seen, I don't know, since Clinton. But my God,
Clinton.
Make sure, your Secret Service, you're his staff, that you were there and you're telling him what's next. And it's not because, don't take this as...
Chew his tapioca pudding for him so he doesn't gum it all day. These type of things are important. Secret Service, come here. Why don't you come over here and chew this bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich without bacon in it?
Oh, he can't even get from one place to another. When you're busy and you're on stage, and we've been on stage, right. I've done speeches.
This guy wears a dress. He catches. She definitely pitches. I mean, I'm just letting you know this is a beta male of epic proportions. He's like, we get on stage. He's like, yes, honey. Yes, we do. Yes, we on stage. Yes, ma'am, we do.
And I'm so nervous. I'm doing the speech. I'm trying to get it right. And when it's done, I don't know which way to go. And I'm looking for direction. So do a better job. Because you can't have these video images of the president tripping or the president like going the wrong way. It's not going to work in this presidency because his age is going to be a factor.
And damn it, we're going to make sure it is by doing a full segment on it.
His age is going to be a factor, and it's your job to make sure he gets from one place to another. He can handle the presidency. You have to handle his schedule and where he goes.
Well, and the scheduling.
It makes me mad.
The scheduling is so important. You have with every president, you have different strengths, you have different weaknesses. If Reagan,
just cut him off. Shut up, Joe. Nobody's asking you. But here's the thing. How do you combat that? Well, of course, the Democrats immediately get involved in the spin because on primetime, we have the answer. We have a story to leak about how Joe Biden eats the faces of his staff and laser beams come out of his eyes and he turns into a Valkyrie from hell. No, Valkyries are usually angelic in nature, but this one has turned the tide as he strikes down with furious anger against anyone who opposes him, even a 19-year-old intern, if he's not sniffing her hair. So what do they have to do? They have to change his image. They have to make him look like Donald Trump, because who can face Donald Trump? The worst, the horrible Donald Trump, the Russia president. Because let's face it, here's the movie. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump, 2016. One man I'm doing Pablo Francisco. Just deal with it. I'm going to take it. One desire, one mission, to ruin America. Russian collusion. E. Jean Carroll. Georgia election fraud. P-tapes. Russia, Russia, Russia. Our democracy is in jeopardy. January 6th. Coming in 2024. Donald J. Trump. The only person who can beat him is Joe Spry Biden. Come on. Come on. Donald Trump's going to beat himself if he keeps going like this. Joe Biden doesn't stand a chance to actually stand up and compare himself to Donald Trump from policy or from an energy perspective. But they want to make him now look like this maverick, this tough guy, this guy behind the scenes. So they're going to throw a little dirt, right? Like cocaine isn't bad enough, right? Like quid pro quo and taking money from the Chinese Communist Party isn't maverick enough. They need to do something. It's a head fake. It's like when you're in an interview for a job and they say, what's your weakness? And they're like, oh, that's a really good question. I work too hard. And that's bull. You don't work too hard. You're probably an arrogant dick. You probably don't show up on time. Your coworkers don't like you. That's probably an opportunity. Everyone always gives a pseudo opportunity that sounds good. It's like a backhanded compliment, but it's in reverse. You go ahead and you pretend to fall on the sword and say something that's bad when really it's good. Oh, you work too hard? Oh, that's horrible. How dare you? Really, what you're saying is I'm going to cover up for my real opportunity. Joe Biden is old. Joe Biden is not grumpy. He's just an old guy who likes to go ahead and say stupid stuff, right? He's not tough. He's not going to take anyone behind the barn. Corn Pop most assuredly was a bad dude, but Joe Biden didn't do anything. He probably got beat up by Corn Pop.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Yeah.
And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Right. So you got to go ahead and give him a new image. And who's going to do it? These people, because primetime CNN planted the story in the morning with Morning Joe, and then they have a solution at night. Here it is.
All right, we know that President Biden likes to cultivate his public image as kindly Uncle Joe, he's often referred to. But apparently behind the scenes, I'm talking about in private, he reportedly has a bit of a temper and unleashes it on his staff. That's according to an article by Axios. Alex Thompson is the national political reporter, and he joins me now. Alex, I'm glad that...
And Alex is like, I can't believe I'm going to go ahead and try to sell this crap, but I'm going to do it through a toothy smile.
You're here. We've been on Sirius XM.
Doesn't he look like the guy that does Golem and does all those facial things? Like, Golem. My precious. That's what he looks like. What's that guy's name? Somebody tell me down there. Andy Serkis or some crap?
Together. We can't swear here right
I'll
now
have a picture
on cable.
of him up
But let
here.
me ask.
They can't swear on cable. Right. You remember the time when Donald Trump cussed in one of his rallies and I think he said BS, and then all of a sudden they're just like, he's an a-hole, and then BS and all this other, and they started cussing up a storm on CNN. They did it for like a week, and then they got the ratings back. Oh, and people clutched their pearls, but now they can't cuss. Yeah, whatever.
Many people may not have read this in full to fully understand what exactly President Biden is being accused of doing or how he's behaving. Break it down for me.
Yeah, so
break it down for me, man.
Like maybe he'll whisper a bit when he's trying to make a point, but behind closed doors, he's prone to yelling. It's much saltier language, and he'll really angrily grill into his staff to the point that some staffers are actually a bit afraid to meet alone with the president.
Really?
All you got to do is take the remote from him, and he will be docile as a puppy. Give him some tapioca. Go ahead and give him some Metamucil, orange flavored. Mix it into his freaking his malto meal. He'll be fine. Joe Biden's right. Hold on 1 second while I get out of this chair. I swear, when I do, I'm going to kick your ass. He just runs circles around Grandpa, slap him upside the head. What is he going to do? He's not going to do. He's Joe Biden. He can't even walk.
Sometimes they'll bring in an extra person or two in order so that the firing line is a little bit distributed among several different staffers.
He's worse than Steve Jobs.
This runs really counter to the image that most people, I think, would have of President Biden.
Sure does.
How
I wonder
are we
why.
knowing this? I mean, how do you get the reporting? Who's complaining about this? Is current, former
Nobody.
staff? Who?
Both.
Nobody.
Current, former, and by
Nobody.
former, I mean former.
Yeah, a few whistleblowers have come out and talked about, oh, we're not talking about that. No. No whistleblowers. We're just talking about the people who are disenfranchised with Joe Biden, even though he hasn't fired anybody on his staff. Because everyone does such a stellar job, because they're all Obama replants. I wonder why.
White House staff current White House and administration staff. Plus, you even have people going back. You know, we had a headline today. We called it Old Yeller. But I can confirm to you that Joe Biden was a young yeller, too. And so we even talked to staff that went back to the early 2000s. And
he was a yellow dog that died at the end? What? I don't understand. What is the old yell? Oh, yeller. Oh, like yeller. Like, oh, horrible, dude. Horrible.
The fact is that this is a guy that has been professionally staffed for more than half of his
If you wear dress shoes with blue jeans, you have a problem.
life, and he's had a long life. So it's been over 50 years where he's had people staffing him. And as a result, there's a generational difference too. You know, he's really, really tough on staff. And he already had that, as he calls, you know, get his Irish up. He already had that Irish temper, and he'll really lay into people.
God. You know those Irish people, as they constantly drink and are alcoholics and they have no conscience. Dude, what is this show? I mean, listen, folks, we don't mean to be racist or nationalist here, but we're going to go ahead and do that in the sake of being ageists.
And in some cases, you know, make them feel humiliated, make them feel embarrassed.
How?
And
Give me
really
examples.
feel like, and truly be cussed out.
Does
I'm
he
not
sniff
joking
them?
when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot. On the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Oh, come on,
Everybody,
Joe.
everybody is entitled to be treated with decency and dignity.
That's right.
That's
except for
what-
Republicans, except for those MAGA T traitors, those deplorables, those racist, xenophobic, transphobic, those people who are destroying America. Anyone who voted for Donald Trump, vote for me in 2024.
Missing in a big way the last 4 years.
Will you take questions on inflation then?
Let's move. Thank you. Thank you
Do you
all.
think inflation is a political liability ahead of the midterms?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a...
Oh, he's feisty. Come on, folks. Joe Biden is this guy. Are you kidding me? He can't even walk. He can't even talk. And I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just being honest. He's not a threat. The only threat that Joe Biden is to the American people and the vision of America. He should not be in office for another 4 years. And really, we can sit here and talk about policy. We can talk about what type of character he has. But truly, we need to move on. We can't take another 4 years of stagnation, of doing absolutely nothing but spending money, printing it at an ungodly rate, and having no accountability for our government and what they do. And this is on both sides, Republicans and Democrats. It's going to take that person, that tough guy, that maverick, that person to whip people into shape, to make sure that they are doing what they are supposed to do, to challenge both sides of the aisle equally. It's not Joe. Don't you remember when they told us that he was the great negotiator? He was going to come in and reach across the aisle like the days of Tip O'Neill and Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton and get up there and do his thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go ahead and touch my chocolate chip cookie. Just touch it. Seriously, come on over here and put your fingers on it. Go ahead. Oh, doesn't that feel nice and warm? Yeah, that does. He wasn't going to do that, and he never was going to do. He's not that guy. You can sit here and talk about this all day long. You're never going to change his image. America does not like Joe Biden. They only voted for him because they didn't like Donald Trump. It's the same reason why Donald Trump won, because they didn't like Hillary Clinton. We need to put some younger, non-spry people on the national stage. We need a debate in this country, and we need to rise the level of debate in this country. We simply don't talk about things anymore. We just accept this as somehow this guy is indicative and reflective of the United States and what we're about. Joe Biden is not the great white hope. He never was, and he never will be. And you can change his image, and you can have him throw a baseball bat with barbed wire on it, with chunks of brain matter, and make him look like Negan from Walking Dead. But ultimately, he's not. He's a guy who's approaching the end of his term. And he is going to be a lame duck president, as nobody is going to give this guy a mandate. It's time that we stop trying to rebrand his image. It's time that we stop trying to reinvent the same shit from a different pile. We need to look at other candidates. We need to look at our options. And ultimately, we need to get involved by making the choice in the local elections, in the school boards, in the county clerks, and the sheriffs, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. That is where they bake the bread, so to speak, not at the federal level and not the national stage. Really, truly, the president is not the president of the people. He's the president of the governors of the states. If you want to make change, it happens in the legislature. It happens in the Senate and the Congress and the mayor and the gubernatorial races. Think about that when you go ahead and vote down ticket without checking to ensure that the person you're voting for isn't a Joe Biden. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. I hope you had a chance to laugh. People are going to say I'm in rare form, but I had a good time with this one. I hope you did too. Follow me at The DUM Show, at The DUM Show, at The DUM Show across all social media. And you can also follow me at thedumshow.com. Get yourself a cool shirt, a hat, and other stuff over at thedumshow.com. I'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock with Olivia and I live. We'll have some fun stuff for you. Please do me a favor. Get the word out. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tonight.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice than service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important, you are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call